Welcome to the Opinionated Benchwarmers Podcast, episode 191. Your opinionated benchwarmers are back to do what we do best, and that's discuss sports. Got both of my brothers back today. How y'all feeling, man?
Good, man. Good. Ready to do it. It's been a minute, man. I'm on the East Coast now. I think the time changed. I think it's gonna make it a little easier for us to get together and finally kind of coordinate. We're not coordinating three different time zones. So again, ready to rock it. I know we got a lot to jump in, so I'm not gonna hold it like my dog say.
Yeah, no, definitely, man. We got the whole band back this time. So it feels like good times, old times, whatever you want to call it. It's good to have everybody, in the room ready to record, do what we do best. So as Los already said, I'm not gonna hold it. Let's go ahead and get into it.
Yo, man, my brother over here on the East Coast with me, man. It feel good to have family near me, man. Welcome to the DMV. You know what I'm saying? So we already done linked up a few times since you've been out here. So you know what I'm
Yeah.
sayreally, really feel
We
nice to
got
be out here, bro.
we got one more to work on, man. We got one more to work on to finish the trip.
One more, hey,
One more, one more to get to
we
East
get him
Coast.
to the East Coast, man. We might have to get a studio, man.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
Man, look, man, we appreciate all the fans for being patient with us. As you just heard, a lot of transition. We just had one of our co-hosts moving from coast to coast, literally. So, we appreciate your patience, but we back and we locked in. And the NBA Finals, man, it's starting to heat up. Against the Pacers, Indianapolis Pacers, and the Oklahoma City Thunder. You know what I'm saying? I'm a little rusty right now, but right now, the Pacers are up 2-1, man. A very, very good game last night. An explosive game from Benedict Mathurin. I mean, these guys, the Pacers, man, they're pesky. They won't go away. Here we are, fellas, man. We got some good basketball being played right now.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more there. Let's first touch on just the two teams that are there, right? I mean, you probably start the year, maybe you said the Thunder could get there, but the Pacers, if we look at these smaller market teams being there representing, this is probably what Adam Silver dreamed of, right? This is his dream situation right here where you got small markets making it right now. And they did it the right way. They built through the draft, right? They made some good moves here and there and they built their teams the right way. You no longer see these three super teams and three stars on team. That's not how you're going to win anymore. You got to fill out that team. You got to have a deep bench. You got to start with building the foundation of your team, and that starts through the draft.
Yeah, no, 100%. As you mentioned, these teams, as you've already alluded to, are both built off of depth. They go really deep. But the thing about it as well, too, is that just overall, it's a really exciting matchup. I know that people a lot of times get into, saying, oh, the typical star power of a LeBron or a Steph Curry or, guys of that nature and magnitude aren't in this finals. And so you have kind of some of the lack of a better term, casuals who aren't as into the series. But honestly, leading into it, to me, this has been a big time matchup. These are teams that yeah, very deep teams. OKC, of course, plays very high level defense, but still has solid offense. And then on the other end of it, Indiana with the number one offense basically in this playoff run. And then still playing solid defense as well too, with all the different guys that they can throw at SGA. So to me, it's been a very fun matchup, very high level basketball being played. Two of the games, of course, coming down right basically to the end, down to the stretch. And so, been good basketball so far, and I'm excited to see where the rest of the series goes.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, I've been very entertained by it. You got guys here that are hungry, like y'all mentioned. We'll get into the specifics, but I mean, what I look at is you're looking at great coaching as well, great strategic performances. I mean, you look at I think SGA. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he had 32 shots or something like that, but only 25 points. No, he played 42 minutes and had 25 points, which is, he's the NBA, he's the league MVP. He's been scoring at will in the league. And the Pacers have a good game plan around him. And I think one of those things is like y'all mentioned at depth. You got long, athletic wings like Siakam, and those guys that can really they can switch at the point of attack. And I think they're doing a nice job on SGJ. And I think the Thunder has something to figure out here. That at this point they've been breezing through everything, in my opinion. And I think that they finally got a matchup. But I mean, the Pacers, they just had that grit. When you think about their history with Reggie Miller and against the Knicks, and you just look at the passion that those fans have out there in Indiana for their basketball. Caitlin Clark's in the building every home game. I mean, it's explosive, and it's fun to watch. But then you got the OKC fans who are just as passionate. So you have two passionate fan bases that really don't have much to root for besides, these two franchises. And OKC don't have anything to root for, you know, uh, but OKC. So, but I mean, you look at last game. I mean, you look at the game one. The Pacers really stole game one with the game winner in Haliburton. But Haliburton right now, I think he's earned my respect. And I think if you're a basketball fan at this point, you have to. We saw the underrated stuff and all of that mess, but he's really proven that he has a chip on his shoulder, and he's really controlling this game, and he's really leading the Pacers and putting them on their shoulders right now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just on the Haliburton note, yeah, being voted the most overrated player is crazy by your peers, right? That is kind of one of the biggest slaps in the face. When you being voted the most overrated, let's just put that in perspective here. You're pretty much saying, hey, you're not as good as the world think you are. You know what I'm saying? And so what he's done, he's hit a game winner in every series that he's played in. And so that just speaks to how clutch he's been and how well he's played. This game three, he showed up from start to finish. From start to finish. I know the criticism for game two was he turned it on too late, right? This game three, he completely turned it on and he kept it going the whole time. The energy. I just love what the Pacers do. They throw all these good defenders that you was mentioning, Neesmith, Nemar, they just rotate these guys and they're aggressive. One thing that I did notice the difference from all year was Shai didn't get the whistle that he normally got, right? They were playing good defense without fouling him, right? That's where they slow the game down. They can shoot the free throws, slow the game down. They wasn't fouling him, and the refs wasn't blowing the whistle on the tic tac stuff. So when that changes the whole game because I feel like that takes the Thunder out of their rhythm, and that lets the Pacers really set their defense. So or let the Thunder set their defense. So I like it. I mean, I think again, I don't know, man. The Pacers they showed me something different. I would love to see the Pacers win it. I don't think they do. I still don't think they win it.
Yeah, yeah. Going into the series, just kind of alluding to that. Going into the series, I had Thunder in seven. I'm still kind of sitting on that Thunder in seven prediction. But the one thing for me that I really want to see out of this series is can OKC win a game where it's close down the stretch? Can they execute down the stretch of games? Obviously, we saw what they were able to do in game two and really separate and win going away. But we look at game one and we look at game three where both of those games were there for the taking. We know game one was kind of that typical Pacers script that we've seen throughout the playoffs where they just kind of claw back at the end and come and grab it. And then obviously going into the fourth quarter of game three, OKC had a lead. It might have been a 5 point lead or so. And Indiana came out and kind of grabbed that really quickly in the fourth quarter. But you can see down the stretch of games, like OKC to me did not execute well. Shea was not getting really good looks down the stretch. There were times where honestly he wasn't even getting the ball, where maybe it was Jalen Williams taking it, or maybe it's Chet taking it, and SGA wasn't even getting touches. They seemed a little gassed down the stretch, which is something that you haven't really seen from OKC throughout the year, because normally their depth is the thing that weighs on teams, and it's really been the other way around. So my thing is kind of going forward in this series, if we continue to have these close games. Or is OKC, are they going to start being able to execute better down the stretch of games? Or is their youth and inexperience going to kind of get to them? So that's something that I'm looking out for as well, too.
Yeah, I mean, we have a series. I mean, the rule of thumb, right? If the when the opposing team wins on the other team's floor, that's when you have a series, and the Pacers was able to do that in game one. But I think that ultimately, when the Thunder look back and look at how they lost game one, I know that they're really kicking themselves because at this point, you have a 2-1 series with the Pacers, and the Pacers have all the momentum. And this is a very, very pivotal game in game four. And it almost feels like a must win situation for the Thunder. And it almost feels like the pressure is shifting to the Thunder to win on Friday night. So I'm looking forward to seeing that in game four. Me personally, I had the Thunder winning in game six, and I still think that they will win in six. I predicted that they probably would win last night, like they did the Pacers, And I think that the Thunder will rip off three in a row. I think they're going to win Friday night, and I think it's over. It's lights out. I just think that the Thunder is just so much of a talented team, and they're a team that meshes well. And I think they play better when it appears that their backs are quote unquote against the wall. And I like SGA and his mentality towards the game, so I think he leads them and close them out.
Yeah, I mean, chiming in on that as well too. I mean, I'm still sticking with my pick of the Thunder, but I can't say that I'm convinced that they're gonna just rip off three straight. I mean, this Indiana team is a team that deserves everybody's respect at this point, for what they've done each series. You go to the first round. I'll be honest, I picked the Bucks in the first round. I was wrong. They go into the Cavs series as the underdogs. What do? Come in and rip them, right out of the playoffs. And then a lot of people, were picking the Knicks, including myself, Knicks in seven. I do know, Rob, I think you picked Indiana in that series, particularly. But I think that they, for some reason, keep getting to play that underdog route and roll, and that is really working to their advantage. I still think that they're going to get another game in this series. I can't see that OKC is just going to just kind of wipe them out going forward. It's just been too tit for tat for me, and I think that they just execute too well down the stretch of games to not get another one.
Tell you what, I tell you what, watching that game three, Indy was loud in there. And if Reggie Miller show up again with his jeans and his stuff tucked in the front,
Oh my
Indy,
goodness.
Indy just might take
That was so nasty. Right. That was so nasty.
Indy just might take it again. If he show up with his jersey and it's tucked in the front, it
They did
might
say
be over right then.
he had on some Jordan player exclusives on too, the same ones he wore against, I don't know, when he was in playoffs or something. But yeah, that was a nasty outfit, bro. Your twin tripping, Los. But yeah, I
So
think yeah. So game four, Friday night predictions. We'll get into it right now. Like I said, I have the Thunder winning this game. They know they have to win this game, and I expect for this series to shift back in their momentum, switch back in their favor. What do you guys think?
get Friday game. I
Yep.
think Pacers take it. Go up 3-1.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with OKC. I think that they respond. Their back is up against the wall, kind of how they've done all playoffs thus far, and I think they'll come and grab game four.
Okay. Well, we'll be back next week to recap and analyze what we got so far. I'm still holding on. I hadn't lost faith in the Thunder. Meanwhile, we got an interesting coaching search going on right now with the New York Knicks. Nobody expected them to fire Coach Thibodeau after he led the team to the conference final, somewhere where the Knicks haven't been in a while, in years. The Knicks haven't been relevant, what, since the 80s, the late 80s, maybe?
The
Then
90s,
since the
90s.
Patrick, 90s, the
Yeah.
Patrick Ewing days, right? And they repay him by firing him, which was a surprise move to me. Obviously, they have reports saying that players didn't particularly agree with being ran into the ground and his minutes and his philosophy. I do feel like he made some questionable decisions because it was times in the game where he would sit Josh Hart for way too long, or he'll sit this one way too long. So I mean, I do get that, but he led him to the conference final. It has to mean something. And now there's reports that they've reached out to five teams, just nasty work. Five coaches, five teams who didn't say that they're getting rid of their coaches. They reached out to the Mavs, Jason Kidd, Rockets, M.A. Aduko, T-Wolves, Chris Finch, Hawks, Quinn Snyder, and Bulls, Billy Donovan. All of those teams said, no, we're keeping our guy. I've never seen anything like this.
Yeah, I mean, again, why you fire a coach without a plan that, like you just mentioned,
Right,
took you to the
right.
Eastern Conference Finals and you just hoping another team just hand you their coach? Like, that's not how that works. And like, what are you trying to be trailblazer and like change the whole how this works? That's you never rarely ever seen. I think last time we saw that was um your twin Doc Rivers when he went on there and he got traded from what the Boston Celtics to the Clippers. I think we don't
I
see
thought it was
this
to
too
Philly,
often.
huh? Oh, uh-uh.
Maybe so. I think he's gotten traded a couple times. Maybe we gotta look that up afterwards. But again, you don't see this. It's a rare. Coaches just don't get moved and just get let out their contract or traded. Like I just don't see what their plan was. You would think if they fire a coach like that, that just got you that far, that they had a plan. I don't like it.
Right. And the thing about it is at this point, now what you're going to be in is either you're going to have to get somebody else who has been fired or is unemployed right now, who is in the same spot as Tibbs, or you're gonna have to probably try to go find a high level assistant that's kind of been on that cusp of taking that next step to being a head coach. But like y'all said, I mean, they went into it either without a plan or with one of the dumbest plans that you can go, to it with. And Tibbs, as you've already alluded to, this is the first time I think that they've been to the conference final since like 1995. So you do something that is really historic within your franchise, and you let that guy go. Like for me, what I would have done, I'm gonna sit Tibbs down and I'm gonna say, I know that this has been your MO. You play your guys, you run them into the ground. I get it. We're gonna need to see some changes. If we don't see these changes, then this is what it ultimately is gonna lead to. So I would at least give him a chance because he's shown you from an X's and O's standpoint that I'm not putting him as the top coach in the league, but he's shown you that he's one of the better coaches that's out there in the league. So you give him a chance, sit him down. If you don't improve it at that point, and if you keep running your guys into the ground and you go back to your typical tendencies, then we're gonna move away from you. But yeah, neither here
Yeah,
nor
I mean,
there.
I'm with you on that. I agree with both you guys. Tibbs is a good coach, and he's been around for a long time. We know the menace thing has been a long running joke, but he's a very successful NBA historical coach. And for you to get rid of him at this point with no plan is ridiculous. I especially he can be the scapegoat all he wants, but that roster is flawed. That roster is flawed as far as Jalen Brunson having to be score 30 plus points for you to be competing. That shows that you're flawed. What about Mikal Bridges not showing up for majority of the playoffs? Or what about OG Anobi have a good game one night and then don't show up the next? Those two guys really failed the Knicks and were supposed to be depth pieces. So I don't agree with it. I'm happy because that's one less team that the Lakers have to worry about. Shout out to Ramon with that wonderful shirt that he has on. But as far as the Knicks, I don't care about them. I don't like their fans. Their fans are annoying. They haven't been won anything since '95. I know the Lakers fans are annoying too, but I'm not one of them. Maybe I am. I don't know. But
We
I
win
just
though.
like I like seeing the Knicks demise. I like seeing this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I couldn't agree more, brother. I'll leave it at that. I couldn't agree more.
Right. Ditto. Ditto.
Yeah, I hope they never find a coach. Anyway, but if they did, what would be a good story? I think Mark Jackson going there would be probably a really good story. Former historical legendary Nick Mark
Yeah.
Jackson, but I think he done. I don't know what he did.
I
It's
just
just
don't,
crazy. They
yeah, I
they
just
hate him,
don't,
bro.
yeah, I don't see him really getting the chance. Like you said, the story would be great, but I mean, Mark Jackson definitely seems that he's been blackballed from the league in that way. I miss him calling the games that he used to call, all that. Like
Yeah.
he's not able to do that anymore. But other than that, man, I don't really know where they go next.
Yeah, I mean ESPN they killing me, man. They just getting rid of all of the greats. Like how you get rid of Mark Jackson, man? I can understand Van Gundy a little bit, but Mark Jackson, come on, man. And
That
then I don't
trio
know,
worked though, man. That trio worked.
it did, and then they need to get off my girl Doris. I think that she does a good job. They need to stop criticizing her, bro, because she does a good job, man.
Well,
Like I like Doris.
enjoy the time you got left, because her days are numbered, brother.
Shout out to Doris Burke, man. But as we move, we couldn't get out of here, man. We're gonna wrap up just discussing some Lakers right quick, man. We got Luca, who has been all over social media, has gone viral pretty much. He's not only shout out to the jersey, right? He is looking great, man. He looks slim down. He's shown working out in the gym. I don't know about you. I thought it was BS. I saw him at the game on the sideline. It's like, oh, he looked thin. I was like, ah. But then when I saw him in the gym working out, man, it looked like he putting in the work, which I'm excited to see after the rumors of him being overweight, after Dallas just throwing mud on his name, saying that he's not passionate about sport basketball and he's overweight and all this. But to see him slim down and to see him focus, man, LeBron got him on the plan, bro.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think we got to give credit to our head coach, right? Our head coach set the tone for the offseason. He said it right after the season. He said, hey, we got to get into championship shape, right? And I think that was a direct shot at Luca, right? Like, if we're going to win, we're going to be great. We got to be in top tier shape, and that starts in the offseason. And I applaud him. I still want to see him put it together. I still want to see him be this size when the season starts because there's so much time in between now and October, right? I can lose 10 pounds now and then feel good, have a couple drinks and eat all the snacks and stuff and be right back where I need, not need to be. So it's like I still want to see it on the floor translate. I want to see Luka back dunking again. You know what I'm saying? We haven't seen that really since rookie year. So I would like to see that him get to the rim and be able to put it down. Not talking about he's going to be an Anthony Edwards or anything. He's going to never be that, but at least have somewhat of the threat to be able to get up and have that lift.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. I really think that the revenge tour is on the way, man. I think that, Luca has a lot that in his mind now that he wants to prove. And I think that he does right now, he has a chip on his shoulder. And we know that he is one of the ultimate competitors. Like, that's what we do know about Luca. And so I think that now he's finding another way to channel that competitive energy and that competitive edge that he has. And he understands that, like, JJ, as you said, what JJ Redick says, as he sees the example of what LeBron has done throughout the course of his career, like all the tools are there, and then you know that the Lakers are going to do whatever is necessary to cater to their stars. One of the things that's talked about is over the years, the Mavs were getting rid of guys, even training staff that Luca wanted to be with the team. They got rid of his team and his guys. Well, the Lakers not gonna operate like that. The Lakers are gonna do whatever really that their stars ultimately want. That's why Bronny's on the team, all that kind of stuff like that. So I think at the end of the day, we see Luca come in probably the best shape that he's been in years, and you're gonna see high level basketball. One thing that we know is, before all of this talks, all that kind of stuff, Luca was a top three player in the league. Yeah, it just is what it is. He's a top three player in the league, and I'm looking for him to basically be back at that level next season. So it's gonna be
Yeah,
interesting.
that's facts. That's facts, man. I love to see it. I love to see him locked in like he was, but considering how he played when out of I quote unquote out of shape with us, and he was just magical, special. So imagine a motivated and in shape. NBA better watch out. We just got to get a roster around him. We got to get a big man. We got to get a 3-and-D player. We got to get rid of Austin Reeves and get somebody in that can do 3-and-D if we have to. You know, you look at Caruso. Caruso's in the NBA Finals and making pivotal plays for the Thunder, and there's a big reason why they are where they at. So we got to get that on the roster and try to compete while LeBron plays year to year. But fellas, I think we did it again, man. I'm wrapping up here. We appreciate all the love and support we've been receiving from everybody. Make sure that you're subscribed to the podcast wherever you like to listen to your podcast at. Make sure that you are subscribed to our YouTube as well. Hit the bell, get notified when we drop this wonderful content, and subscribe to our YouTube. Tell a friend, share the link, man. Just put us out there, man. Try to get us where we're trying to go. We appreciate that support. Until next time, we are out of here.
Later.